Let's bring our next panel up and talk about content discovery and figure out how we beat that particular killer in this economy. Let's give it up for our guys. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. So usually when I think about traditional brands and publishers, I have huge respect for the businesses they've built and their legacy in publishing and as a brand, but not necessarily a lot of appreciation for their ability to innovate and reinvent their company. So today, for me as an entrepreneur, is a real treat. I feel like I have two startups here with me on a panel. One is a 120-year startup, one is a 30-year startup, but really some of the biggest innovators, I feel, in media and publishing, reinventing the companies, reinventing how publishing is done, reinventing how marketing is done. And so for me, it's a real treat. We'll do short introductions and jump into content marketing and content discovery.
Sure. Great to be here. Great to be part of anything Shelley Palmer is putting on. So my name is Linda Boff. I lead global advertising, digital marketing, brand, user experience for a company called GE. We are 130 years old plus, and I love the introduction because I often call us the oldest startup on the block. So great to be here.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is David Payne. I'm the Chief Digital Officer of Gannett, and I oversee all of the product development and technology for USA Today and all of the Gannett local properties.
Excellent, thank you. So just a minute about Outbrain, and that'll set us up for the discussion. I'll use, just to make it a good example here, a couple days ago I was reading an article on USA Today about the SpaceX rocket launch. At the end of every article on USA Today, there are recommendations to other pieces of content. One of them was to an Eco-Imagination GE story about the inventor of the LED thing, which was an incredible piece of content. I encourage you all to go both to USA Today, but also to the Eco-Imagination story. It was a story. It was a 4-minute video, which I watched it all and loved it. So Outbrain powers those recommendations on USA Today. We help brand marketers, the smarter, more innovative ones, to drive traffic to their content, and that's Outbrain in a nutshell. We do that on many of the premium publishers like CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, et cetera. So I read that Eco-Imagination article and watched that video, and you lost a page view on your text section. So we hear a lot about brands becoming publishers, brands as publishers. Is that happening? And if it is, what's the role, or should publishers exist in the future?
I'll start. So, you know, to me, it's kind of a new mashup. We were talking about this a little bit before the panel, but, you know, I think we're in a day where brands are content publishers, brands are distributors, brands are partners with enlightened media companies, and I think the day where those were separate swim lanes, at least for us at GE, is absolutely over. It's great storytelling, right? I mean, I think that's what a lot of content is about, content marketing, brand marketing. And I think for many brands, or a lot of brands out here, who knows your story better than you do? So I think the idea of thinking about who do you want to be talking to, how do you want to tell your story, how do you want to be reflected, whether it's social media, whether it's video, whether it's any of the channels the panel before was talking about, I think it's got to, I think it's a brave new world, I guess is what I would say.
And I would add, I mean, brands are not only content publishers now. I think the last panel has demonstrated even further, brands are digital media companies. And so they are tweeting, and they are, you know, we just heard all about the DKNY. You know, the Eco-Imagination thing is not just content, but I'm sure there's a social media platform behind it. So the big insight for us as publishers is how do we stay relevant in that world? And I actually feel really good about this development from a publisher standpoint. You may think that I'm crazy, but hear me out. What USA Today, as one of our biggest brands, really does is it's two things. One, it's culturally relevant. Okay, so unlike I heard you saying, Shelley, just a minute ago, you're only getting your information from the phone. There's a window in time every morning in LaGuardia Airport and DC National and Seattle where there are only 3 news outlets in the country. So you almost go back in time and hearken to when there were only 3 broadcast outlets. We own the conversation with probably the most influential group of people who are traveling across the United States. So we're culturally relevant in time and in space. And then when we move into our digital products, one of the things that is an aha for us in this is that what we provide that the brands cannot necessarily provide is millions of people coming every day routinely to our products and sites and checking in. So if you think about what media has done in light of these trends, and I got in a little bit in trouble last week at Adweek. Someone asked me, how do you rate the media companies? And I said, well, you know, from this value to how did you phrase it, Shelley? From wealth or value to wealth, on that continuum, I said, you know, probably we're a 2 right now over the last 18 years as an industry. So for us, what we're trying to do is move from a 2 to a 10. And the way that we're doing that is recreating experiences digitally where we can bring in that entire set of digital media that you're creating into a user experience where that's going to be valuable, as opposed to putting a box on a page and asking somebody to click on it to go off to that thing, because you'll never get millions of people to that experience.
Yeah. Can I key off that for a second?
Absolutely.
Because I think the days of the rectangle as we know it are really over. The way we think about it, and perhaps this is helpful, you know, we have this model, PESO, paid, earned, shared, owned. And, you know, we can produce great content. In fact, I'd sort of put our content out there with anybody's. It's really strong. It sort of tells the story of a company steeped in innovation, science, technology. But we can't necessarily reach all the audiences we want to. And we're as adept at social, I think, as you can be. You know, we're active on Twitter, on Facebook, on Pinterest, on Vidi, very active on Instagram. So, you know, we're doing our part, but I think without the paid component of this, in the right context, with the right audience, with the right partner, you know, we never want to get back to that walled garden moment, right, where you put it up and you sort of hope and pray that people get there. So I don't disagree with you. I know you're looking for disagreement, but I unfortunately none yet.
So really the insight for us, and if you haven't a chance, I'm going to do my plug for the new usatoday.com, which is a precursor. It's not, you can get it in the tablet, in any browser, and so forth. And the construct was to answer that fact, which is you're creating all this great content, you're creating all these great videos, you're trying to drive brand awareness, you're trying to get your tweets out. How do we create that experience inside and native to a news consumption experience? And there are 3 words that we use. It's left, right, close, left, right, close. And what does that mean? So if you open up our browser today and look at USA Today, instead of asking you to read a page of content with thousands of links on it, we present a very clean article view, and then we're encouraging you to go left or right or close and go back to the section front that you're on. And that's really important, because if we can get you to move laterally within a news experience, just like we do in the tablet, what that does is open up the entire browser for deep and rich. We can bring the entire ecosystem, or you know, all of the stuff that you've built into an experience where millions of people are seeing it every day. And that really is what we're striving for, and that's the real upside. And that's what we think is going to move you know, value to wealth for media companies.
So that's a good layup for a controversy, not only a 2-way, but we'll make it a 3-way, so this should be fun. So as I said before, when I'm on USA Today, I do get, there is the right, left, and close, but there is also the content recommendation, and I can get to the GE content that's hosted on another site. So the question is, as a content marketer, where should your content live? Should it live under your owned and operated sites, under your brand, or should it live wherever? And as a publisher, shouldn't that content be part of the swiping? So I swipe a USA Today story, then GE, then continue swiping into USA Today, and then someone like Outbrain has no place. So. That's why it's a three-way. So
That is the third rail, is to go up to other sites. But I think we're all looking for strategies to get more people to understand our brands and to get more people to get as deep as an experience as we feel about it. I mean, there is fabulous work done. How many people know about the new Dodge Dart? Just pick a Dodge Dart. A smattering of hands, because you probably saw a television commercial in one of the football games. It's probably the most brand awareness that they have driven across there. But the work they have on their site is unbelievable. I mean, everything they show you about the car, the details, the specifications, the test drives, the view, the whole thing. So our thought was, can we bring that into that experience, as opposed to having somebody either click off to that experience, right? So we make it very easy for people to click off to that. But what if we could bring that into the whole experience? So
so you would take the GE content and put it as part of the swiping stream, if you could. What do you think?
Yeah, so I don't know if my view is exactly different, but perhaps it's a little bit different in that I think for any content to be optimally relevant, it's got to be contextual. And for it to be contextual, I think it needs to be where people are spending their time, and it can't be disruptive. And so for us, that could very well be the example you gave. I'm not saying it isn't. And at the same time, we probably spend the most time thinking about where are the audiences that we want to reach, who are going to feel an affinity to our brand, where are we going to be our most accessible, our most human, where are we going to connect with people on topics like technology, and then trying to behave, and I'm going to quote, I don't know if Noah stayed around, Noah Breyer, but Noah wrote an article in Ad Age not long ago, which is that brands need to behave as people on social channels, and I thought that was really insightful. I think you need to sort of say, whether it's the tonality, whether it's the placement, whether it's the context, is this something that somebody would want to read? And does it make sense in this context? And I think if you're sort of throwing a bucket of cold water on someone and saying, wait, stop watching the football game and listen to me, it can be a little difficult.
So where do you reach audiences today? It used to be just traditional publishers. Now it's probably, as you said, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter. Do you do all those?
Yeah, we do. Are you guys going to let me roll my video? I don't think we have a cue. Okay, so I'm going to bring a video to life, which is to say that we have made a fairly big bet, and it's more time than money, to be really honest, in some emerging platforms where we feel that we can be super visual. So think Pinterest and Instagram, because what we want to do at GE, we're a company that is largely an industrial company. So how do we get people to understand us a little bit better? Because we know when people know the company better, they like us better, they want to come work with us, they want to partner with us. So we sort of open our factory doors, so to speak, and bring people in. And we've done this literally by having, helicopter drones fly around and have people be able to see locomotives being made. We've taken these beautiful sort of industrial porn, almost, if that's a phrase, maybe now it is, shots so that if you love technology, you're this close to a wind turbine. And I have to say, I think it's paid off. We're perhaps the...
How do you measure the paid off?
Oh, so unlike my predecessor, we measure everything. And we pay a lot of attention to it. So on Instagram, we're, I think, the 5th largest brand on Instagram, both in terms of followers and engagement. We do a daily metrics that matter real-time report.
5th largest as far as sharing, right? There's no way to pay them extra.
Exactly. In terms of sharing, the only B2B brand in the top 10, or I think, frankly, even thinking about it. So, we've bet fairly big on social programs social platforms where we think the brand not just can show how innovative we are, but we've put the brand in association with innovative new platforms. And I think for a company that is all about invention, you need to kind of keep pushing that. Otherwise, it's a bit of an inconsistent message.
Right.
Yeah. I've actually seen those videos, and they are porn-like. Or industrial
sense. This is being streamed.
No, I mean,
right?
they are they humanize.
That's exactly what it's about.
And but I think if I'm I think the missed opportunity, I think is a better way to say it, is that as, two sides of the ecosystem of media with brands, I don't think in digital yet we have figured out how to marry the fact that we have such, amazing audiences in our place and get them that really interesting video. Yeah. And where I've seen that video is in pre-rolls to things, right, is probably the only place, and that is probably the most interruptive part of it. I just think there's a way to do it better. Yeah. And either, sorry, Yaron, but, sometimes it's okay to click off to those things, but, still a small percent of people are clicking off on those things. Single-digit percents when we're really knocking it out of the park.
No need to apologize. I love a great publishing experience, and I think the new design is just phenomenal. If I tie that back to KPIs and measuring innovation, you did an amazing job of just cleaning up the whole page, the content pages especially. There's content and one ad, so one rectangle. And I'm just wondering, on behalf of any publishers here in the audience, so how many calls do you get a day, or how much pressure do you get internally to start pushing all the ads back in there? How do you pull that?
Well, it's, I feel a little bit like the guy that was dancing with the no shirt on in the beginning there. Looking for more fast followers behind us. The agencies and the clients really do appreciate it. The question is, what kind of fortitude will we have to try to create a new experience there? I had a conversation yesterday with somebody from Digiday who said, it is crazy what we all still do in media publishing. I mean, so there's no disagreement that, if your primary currency is something that's measured and valued when it's clicked on one out of 1,000 times. That's the primary benchmark for valuing your product. So everybody kind of knows that, but it sure is hard to break habits.
Mm-hmm. So a bunch of the G content is now discovered on Facebook, and I think you spend money with them. That's money not going into the publishers. But you guys probably have a lot of the Facebook stuff on your pages and get discovery there as well. So Facebook, friend or foe? I think probably friend for Linda. For you?
Absolute friend, but early days. And I think Facebook would say the same thing. I think there's a great model there. And at the same time, I think we're all trying to figure out, how do you use a platform that is ultimately about organic sharing and impose an advertising model. So we're very bullish. We like what we're doing because it's about health, and we feel like it's a topic people can really relate to, but early days.
And
friend.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Getting the hook.
Yeah, we're getting the
Yaron,
Shelley
David, Linda,
here.
let's give it up for these guys. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.